They weren't sure that they weren't going to ignite the atmosphere on fire and extinguish the entire species from the face of the earth. So it's like...
We knew that the Trinity tests had to be a showstopper in the film. It had to be one of the most significant moments because it's the hinge point of the whole story. I didn't want to use computer graphics, so I challenged my effects people to look at methods for shooting something real, something tangible. And we put a lot of care and attention into the detail, the assembly of the gadget, the tension, the build-up with all of the protocols, the safety protocols, and all of that process that gives you a journey that you're on to this moment of incredible beauty and incredible danger.
All of us, all of us cast and crew alike felt the sort of weight of it when we were shooting that. You don't really need to talk about it, you just sort of feel it, and you kind of approach it as sort of sensitively as you can. But it did feel quite exciting, and then quite terrifying, and then quite overwhelming, and sort of stunning at the end. So we were kind of experiencing similar emotions, I imagine, even though it was all pretend. Yeah.
First of all, it's the thought exercise of there was a world without nuclear weapons, because that's a world I've never lived in, right? So I'm thinking about this moment and everything we read about it. And Chris had paid attention to every detail, and he knew every account from everybody's perspective, and so he was trying to recreate it. They weren't sure that they weren't going to ignite the atmosphere on fire and extinguish the entire species from the face of the earth. So it's like, the fact that they went ahead and pressed the button is
Chances are near zero. Near zero.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know what to say about that, mm-hmm. right? But in Groves' case, he so never questioned what he was doing. He was so sure of himself that he was thinking about how much money they'd spent, what happens if this goes wrong, like these very practical things. But
of winning as well.
But of winning, yeah, exactly.
So it's
and
like
of his own ambition. I mean, it's like
that's the thing. The male ambition during war is another big
is another theme
that runs
in this
through
movie.
it.
Because it was an issue for Oppenheimer, his own ambition, right? And what haunted him for the rest of his life.
But it's like they didn't think about the fact they could take out the human species. It was like they were possessed by this pursuit, and you feel that in the Trinity.
By their own agendas, and it's this
agendas.
incredible thing about human beings where you go, like, our technology has so outpaced our evolution, mm-hmm. right, as a species, that you get these, existential, we'll invent an existential threat, that will probably extinguish us from the planet.
Yeah.
Without keeping pace with kind of the morality of that, or it's a very, like, what I love about Chris's movies is he asks these very big questions, but they're deeply rooted in this intimate in humanity.
I've always been drawn to protagonists who are recognizably human in obvious ways, and layered and complex. And the more I got to learn about Oppenheimer's story, the more I realized that I know of no story as dramatic as he was tested in extraordinary ways. He was very brilliant, very human, very complicated. The paradoxical nature of a lot of the situations he found himself in that ultimately becomes so important to all of us and the world we live in mean that his story has the highest stakes. And as a filmmaker, those are the kind of stories you're looking for.
And I think it's why people are left feeling very distraught, because it's a reality for all of us. This is not just escapism into an incredible world. This is like a very profound confrontation of our reality. So I think that's why people talk about it for a long time.